Hey everybody, Morgana Galaxia here. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're with me today. I want to get on today to look at just sort of a handful of people that have been in the news lately, getting themselves in trouble, as usual. So the first person I want to take a look at is someone I haven't read on before, Sarah Palin. So as you know, she's in the news because she's on her second bout of COVID, totally unvaccinated, and decided that she wants to go out dining to a restaurant, sit, outdoors, which was really indoors because it was enclosed with other people, unmasked. And, there's footage of her not only, sitting at the table with these people unmasked, but also moving around the restaurant, right? Walking out of the restaurant, sort of moving around in the outside of the area where there was other people, going to her seat, all unmasked, okay? So, the rules in restaurants are kind of weird, right? You have to wear a mask when you're entering, walking around, going to your seat, going to the bathroom. But once you sit down and you're eating and drinking, you can be maskless. Well, that's convenient for us all. It's kind of stupid. I mean, if you're sitting in the middle of a crowded restaurant, you're not going to not get COVID because you're eating. But, we compromise, right? So here's Sarah Palin. She just don't give a schnizzit about anybody. Unvaccinated, second bout of COVID, and it was like only 2 days, so she could give it to other people, sitting at a table with other folks, walking around the restaurant, passing people by, no mask, no nothing. So she got busted. Everybody's talking about it. I'm sure she doesn't have any remorse about it. But let's take a look. How's she going to really fare due to this? How's it going to help or hurt her? Apparently she's talking about running as a congressperson from Alaska, I guess trying to replace Lisa Murkowski. But yeah, this is really gonna be an obstacle for her. People are really gonna be upset. I imagine Alaskans should be really upset at her. Okay, so we want to take a look at Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin, the mama bear, the renegade. Sarah Palin. I can see Alaska from my backyard, Sarah Palin. All right, Sarah Palin, how is this gonna affect her? Put my glasses on. Okay. Okay, so Sarah, she's starting right off with the tower. Okay, so this is really gonna be damaging for her. It's really going to change her plans. She was planning to run for Congress or do anything else to get herself back in the political limelight. Ooh, I think she just blew her shot. This is really telling us that there's going to be a lot of blowback on her for this action, probably especially in Alaska, but nationwide. It was just a middle finger to everybody around her, to any constituents she might represent, to everybody who's out there going to work every day, wearing their masks, vaccinating. The wait staff who assisted her, he was wearing a mask, and she just, I don't want to flip you guys off, but she just given the middle finger to all these people, and it's going to come back and bite her in the ass. Here she is, tower moment. This means that, this tower moment's really telling us that, yeah, it's already biting her in the butt. It's on TV. Everyone's kind of, making fun of her about it. But it's going to go further than she expects. It's going to damage her more than we can initially see. This might really derail her political ambitions, totally destroy her reputation such that it is. Maybe ruin friendships. It's a tower moment for her. This is going to be a big deal. Okay. Her challenge with this Nine of Wands here, yeah, again, just reiterating, this is going to really bring her down. She's going to feel defeated. This is going to kneecap her, make her feel It's just going to shake her confidence, make her feel like she's losing a battle here. She might try and dig in and double down, triple down on what she did, on her response to this, but it's not going to serve her in any kind of way. And finally, with the Five of Swords, oh my goodness, poor Sarah. What am I saying, poor Sarah? I don't care about her. But anyways, so with this Five of Swords, use of power, yeah, she obviously has abused her power by doing this. In other words, you know, as someone who held a political office, she has a duty to represent herself well for all Americans. You know, there's still a duty there, even if she's out of office. As a politician and a wannabe politician, there's a duty there that she completely shirked. She abused the power and the privilege that she has. And bad, bad, bad. All these cards are bad. I almost feel with this card that there might be some legal action taken against her that she's going to have to defend herself from. And she's not going to do it very well. She will, you know, spout lies, be unethical, right? Spout lies, propaganda, what have you. She's going to try and defend herself in really unethical ways. So yeah, I think this, again, with this Tower is telling us, yeah, we're all kind of talking about her right now, but there might be some legal action that brings her down somehow. I haven't really heard of that happening with anybody else, but what was I thinking the other day? I mean, it's reckless endangerment. I mean, if you're going out there with COVID, knowingly you have COVID and you're going out maskless, putting other people at risk, that's public endangerment. Maybe something like that might be coming for her. Oh, Sarah. Thank God she's not in office. Okay, so the next person that I want to look at is Don Jr. I want to take a little bit of a bigger spread on Don. I'm sure you guys, maybe you've heard of that video, that Facebook video he put up the other day where he's just like high, okay? High as F. Just weird. You know, he's just a weird cat. There's so much wrong with him. I mean, you could write an essay on this guy. How he was raised, the values he was instilled with, just like Ivanka, like I said the other day. I feel like, you know, I read Mary Trump's book, the first one on Donald Trump. And basically, yeah, Donald Trump's father was a real piece of work, and he was really horrible to the whole family. And she really described how there was some really early traumatic events and mistreatment of Donald, frankly, that over time led to the development of all the problems that he has, right? He's kind of crazy. And, you know, sorry, you guys, but he did this to his children as well. He did this to his kids, and we can see that manifest. And it really is especially visible in Don Jr. Okay, so I just want to get a look at Don Jr. How is he doing? Completely unlikable, seemingly fairly deranged, possibly addicted. Yeah, gee, he's just, you know, probably pretty violent. You know, he's got this obsession with guns and hunting. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit of a deep dive on Don Jr. and where he is right now. What's his state right now? Where is Don Jr. right now? Oh, not to mention, you know, any legal repercussions for being an instigator of the insurrection. Okay, Don Jr. And I will admit to you guys, even though he's just so loathsome, I do have a little glimmer of compassion for him. And the reason why is because if you look at videos or pictures of him doing whatever he's doing, regardless of whatever garbage is coming out of his mouth. If you just do this, right, and you just look at his eyes, if you just look at his eyes, he looks terrified, okay? He always just looks absolutely terrified. He is living his life for his father. It's completely, he's completely given himself over to someone else. He's got no internal power. He doesn't have his own sense of self. His sense of self is completely tied to his father, who clearly he is scared of, terrified of. And you can really see it in his face all the time. It really is there if you look at it. Okay. Anyways, Don Jr. All right. Now I'm just going to bring you down as I'm laying this spread here. Okay. So, let's see. So, for Don Jr. here, we're starting off with the Empress. And this is just pointing us to, and I'm going to bring you guys back up. This is just pointing to the fact that Don Jr. was raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's grew up super wealthy, right? All the privilege, all the abundance, the mansions, the clothing, the power, the money, the real estate, I mean, the women, right? He had it all. Every gift that he could possibly have been given. Well, he had some bad gifts too, like his father, right? But he had so many gifts. This card came up for Ivanka the other day too. So many gifts to build his life and make it an amazing, abundant, wonderful life full of love and appreciation, all this kind of thing. He had those resources, but unfortunately, along with all that abundance came an unhinged narcissistic father, okay? But we'll get to that in a second. So this is telling us his start, where he feels very entitled. You know, all of these people do. They're so entitled. It's just the fact that they have the incredible amount of money that they've had, and you know, power and influence and so forth. They feel like everything belongs to them. They should be able to do whatever they want. It's just, you know, he's spoiled, right? Spoiled, and he doesn't get the life experience of other kinds of people. He grew up in a gilded cage, you know, a very gilded cage, very limited exposure to different kinds of people, just in general, much less mentally and emotionally with the kind of upbringing he had. There's no compassion for other people. There is no respect for other people, right? So, but the opportunities were there for him to make himself whatever kind of man he wanted to be. So abundance, but this is kind of the essence of the card. Abundance, wealth, silver spoon in his mouth, okay? And he is being crossed here by the Wheel of Fortune. So his fortunes are turning, and they're turning for the worse. Everything that he's had in his life is going to just shift around him, and his life is over as he knew it. Everything is going to change. His fortunes are turning for the worse. And again, as the Wheel of Karma, this is telling us karma's coming to kick him in the ass, all right? This is the outcome of the life he's led and the choices that he's made. I think there's a critter on my porch. Hold on. So, what is in the sky above Don Jr.? What is he inevitably going to have to face? And here we have the Page of Cups. So, in this instance, what I'm really feeling is that he's going to have to face his upbringing, okay? his whole life, as I said a minute ago, is his whole life has been formed by Donald Trump. His whole sense of self is based on his father and what his father demanded of him and expected of him. And he's always trying to, trying to get his father's love and approval and et cetera, et cetera. So he's been stunted. He's been stunted since since he was young, okay? He's a stunted personality. He was never able to develop his own power. He was never able to develop into his own man. He never had a chance to decide his own ideals, his code of ethics. Never had a chance to kind of build maybe the kind of relationships that he might have wanted or live the life that he wanted. He's emotionally stunted and emotionally damaged. And this whole situation with the insurrection and his father's presidency and all of it is forcing him in the end, well, not in the end, but he's inevitably going to have to come face to face with his stuntedness and having to grow out of that. At some point, he's going to have to cut his father loose. Well, he has decisions to make, clearly, but he's going to be forced to deal with the ways that he hasn't grown as a man, as a human being. He has to figure out his own path. He's childlike, okay? He's immature. His inner child is damaged. His inner child is extremely damaged. No matter what wealth he held, what palace he grew up in, what have you, he's just a stunted and damaged human being, and he is going to have to face that. Everything that's happening around him keeps throwing that in his face. He no longer lives in this little bubble where, oh my God, my dad is king, and what he says goes, and he's always right, and he knows everything, so I need to please him. I need to be like him, right? That whole paradigm is crumbling as people, as we know who Donald Trump is. This has been going on, obviously, since he ran for president. People are going, this guy's a crook, this guy's a criminal, he has no ethics, he's completely incoherent, he's a narcissist, he's mad, he's greedy, just whatever people have to say about Donald. This is probably some of the first time that Don Jr. has heard this kind of talk about his dad, who before reigned with no opposition, right? He just was always right. Everyone folded under him. This is one thing we keep hearing. He was never, ever held accountable for any of his actions. And Don Jr. saw this as a young man, right? As a growing boy. Now that's gone. That's gone. All of that, all of the opposition to Donald Trump is really just coming to a head right now, right? It's coming to a head. And this is really shaken Don Jr. He doesn't know, oh my God, if my dad's not the king that I thought he was, if this guy's a crook and unethical, and now I'm kind of finally figuring that out because he's probably on his way to jail, he needs to be a different person. Okay, so I'm kind of going on probably a little too long here, but the point is that he is going to have to come into his own person. He's going to have to deal with his inner child, the broken upbringing he's had. His whole life's been a sham, really. And he's going to have to come face to face with those facts. Okay, so in his recent past, or I should say in his past, we have the Two of Swords. And, it's kind of trying to figure this card out. And the feeling that I'm really getting from it here is that Don Jr. has always had this choice, okay? He might not have felt it, especially as a younger person, but there's always this choice. And this is a choice that Mary Trump's father made to his detriment. But you have a choice here. You can follow your father and, seek his approval, try and emulate him, be like him, and the consequences of that, which is the path that he chose is you've committed crimes. You've become extremely unlikable. You probably have so many internal traumas and so internally damaged. He's self-medicating with drugs and alcohol for entertainment purposes only. I don't know that for a fact, but you could see it on his face in his videos. Okay, so you follow the path of your father. That's going to lead to your doom. Okay, and the other path here is to turn away from that father, turn away from that upbringing, live your own life, move where you want, be who you want, do what you want, and be excommunicated, be cut off from the family, be banned, be banished, have all your money taken away, get cut off, right? You're no longer in this family part. That's what happened to his uncle. So the feeling I'm getting here with the moon and the madness and the swords and the whole thing is that he's always had these two swords: follow my dad into corruption, illegality, immorality, leave him and be destitute, be alone, be cut off, and lose my family. So he's never been able, I feel like he's always been bouncing around between these two. So it looks obviously as though he's followed his father. He is a horrible monster right now. But again, like I was talking about with his eyes, internally, he is scared. He's frightened. He has no sense of self-worth. I understand that he always, he didn't originally want to work for Trump.org. He had dreams of moving to Montana and, being an outdoorsman and shooting big game and this kind of thing. And his dad said, no, you either work for Trump.org or you're out. So he had to choose that path, right? So he was really between a rock and a hard place his whole entire life. The only way he could have his family and his father and the money and the power is to be that person that we all hate. Otherwise, out. Okay. And then what is he going to be coming face to face with the energy he's moving into? Here's the devil. So one of the big meanings of this card, you guys, is addiction. So there's a lot of other meanings too. The fact that he is allowed himself to be enslaved to, his demons, to his father, who's like the big honcho devil. There's a lot of, he's going to have to come face to face with his father if he does, testify at all or show up for any depositions, honor any subpoenas, anything he does that his father doesn't like, he's going to get the hammer, you guys, just like Ivanka in my reading the other day. So he's going to have to face the devil when he faces his father. But that devil is manifesting for Don Jr. in a whole bunch of ways. And one of them is addiction. So it is that internal trauma, that people self-medicate for, right? He's not a happy person. He's never been a happy person. He's never been able to be himself. He's never been able to follow any of his dreams. Everything's been very prescribed and laid out for him. This is the path you're going, the kind of person you're going to be, and you're going to commit these crimes, and you're going to rob those people, and you're going to treat those people like crap, and you're going to hate these kind of people, and that's what you're expected to do being a Trump. And he has done all those things. And he is a tortured soul. Okay, that's where I'm going with this. He's a tortured soul. And he's self-medicating. And it will destroy him if he doesn't rein it in. But even regardless of how he handles that, until his dad passes, until his father passes, he's always going to be enslaved unless he really makes a different decision. Okay, but I don't see anything here that indicates that he has that ability. Okay, so that's my deep dive into Don Jr. Let's do some Rudy Giuliani. Rudy, he is such a mess. Okay, so what's going on with Rudy now? So apparently it was his bright idea to do this fake elector thing. And I know I did a reading not too long ago asking if Mark Meadows was involved in that because Rachel Maddow was talking about it. And, it showed his treachery for sure. So I figured, yeah. And just because this is Giuliani's bright idea, obviously doesn't mean that Mark Meadows hasn't had his fingers in it. So we have yet to know about the full process of that scheme unfolding. Mark Meadows certainly might have been helpful to Giuliani in convincing Trump or finding those fake electors, that kind of thing. But Rudy Giuliani. So, I'm not surprised that they're saying it was Rudy Giuliani's idea to do these fake electors, because it also came out quite a while ago that it was Rudy Giuliani's idea for Trump to just say he won. I can see him there. I wish I had a glass. See him there with his drink. Just say you won, And Trump was like, oh, that's a good idea. And then boom, he believed it himself. Okay, Giuliani. So he might have been I don't want to say mastermind. I don't think anybody should say that about Giuliani. He might have just been, he's just the one who had this bright idea to get fake electors, to complete fake certifications, and then send them around to the archives and the state, local agencies, federal agencies, and, again, commit crimes. Okay, Rudy Giuliani, how's this working for him? Where's Rudy right now? Let's take a look at Rudy. Let's bring it down for the spread. Rudy, is feeling isolated. Oh, he got no love. Ooh, they're coming after him. He's got a lot of things on his plate. Okay, I'm gonna bring you back up. Okay, so we're starting out with Rudy with the Hermit. So he's feeling pretty isolated right now. There's not a lot of people who's got his back. Trump's already pretty much thrown him under the bus, not paying his legal bills like he said he would. Rudy's going it alone, you guys. He's feeling pretty isolated. And, with this snake here in the road, I'm like, you watch your step, buddy, because you're going to get bit any second, as he trudges it alone. His challenge with the Queen of Cups, I think this is kind of saying the same thing. He's got no love. Nobody cares about Rudy right now. They put him on a little iceberg like a polar bear and just pushed him out to sea. There's nobody trying to help this guy. This is his challenge. This beautiful Queen of Cups is also indicating to us that Rudy is emotionally volatile, maybe nonsensical, that he has there's some emotional turbulence there, that he's just not quite making sense, that, just the feelings he has, they're just not based on anything real. There's illusion there. Can indicate for sure, mental problems, mental challenges, emotional troubles. Just emotional volatility, unclear thinking, not really seeing reality for what it is. That element is definitely there with the Queen of Cups as a challenge for you, that you're just not seeing things clearly. Everyone else can see a spade for a spade and you think it's a shovel. You're just not getting it. because there's some damage there, there's some illusion there, there's some self-deceit there. That kind of thing is going on, but also, again, there's no support. Nobody's there to get his back. He is isolated and alone. Okay, so what is he going to have to inevitably face? What is above him? We have the Three of Pentacles. And I think this is saying what he's going to have to face is his actions, the things that he did, the scheme that he built. You know, him along with this person and along with that person, whoever those people may be, we have yet to find out. They together built this scheme. They built this this thing to do together. So he didn't do it by himself, I guess, is really the message we could be pulling out of here. He didn't do this by himself. It might have been his brainchild, but it took cooperation with others to make this happen. And they're going to be getting to the bottom of it, because he's going to have to come face to face with this cooperation that he had with others to craft this scheme. So this is telling us it's going to be looked at, it's going to be investigated. They're going to be looking at it closely and asking him questions about it, because he's going to have to come face to face with him and this thing he did with others. Okay. Foundationally, what's below him? So what's foundational to this question? We have the Seven of Pentacles here, which is a reap what you sow card. But what this is telling me is that Rudy's got a lot. He planted a lot of bad seeds. And so more than we already know about. So we know that it was his idea to tell Trump, and just say you won. And we know that now that it was his idea to get these fake electoral certificates in, right? We also know back in the day how he was doing a sort of off the books, international, how do I want to say it? You know, when he was dealing with the whole Ukraine thing with the Lev Parnas and the other guy fiddling around with Ukraine, he was central in that sort of trying to bribe Ukraine for them to admit that they're the ones that interfered with our election instead of Russia, and how Trump held out the monetary funds until they capitulated to him, and they didn't, and it all came out, and Rudy was right in the middle of that too, right? And he's right in the middle of all the election, you know, the overturning the election, right? Lying in court. He got his law license taken away from him. Rudy has done a lot. So it's just, and then let's not forget the Dominion voting lawsuit, right? Because he claimed that the Dominion machines were flipping votes. So, oh my God, if one thing don't get him, this other thing's going to get him. And then that's going to get him. And this is going to get him. So he's got a lot of boomerangs coming back at him. He's done a lot, and it's all going to come back. So part of what's foundational to this situation with Rudy is there's so much. He did so much. And he sowed all those seeds, and now he's got to reap the consequences for his actions. He is going to be overwhelmed. Okay. What's in the past with the Queen of Pentacles? So the feeling I get from this card is that the reason that he did all this is because he wanted to be Trump's Queen of Pentacles. He wanted to be Trump's partner and in Trump's good graces, and one of those key people that helped Trump do what he needed to do, move things forward for him. He wanted to be important and valuable to Trump. He wanted to be Trump's right-hand man. He wanted to be the one that Trump goes to for resource, not monetary resource, but for plans, for ideas, for support, right? He wanted to be Trump's main source of support. Just complete pandering to the man, which is why he got himself in so many different kinds of trouble. And finally, what is the energy he's going to be moving into is the Eight of Wands. So he's going to duck and cover, Rudy, because it is coming for you, and a whole lot is coming really fast. So that's the message of this card. All of these works that he done, all of those pentacles in the tree, all of the shenanigans, and all the different pots that he was stirring, all of it. Oh, here's Dominion lawsuit. Oh, here's that election overturning lawsuit. Here's all you lying in court. Boom, you got your law license taken away. Here's, the fake. So these are things, I'm talking about things we already know about, but this is energy he's going to be moving into. So there's more to come. There's more to come that we don't already know, because he did a lot. He was doing a whole lot of stuff for Trump. And I think we only know of a few. There's a lot more to come, but so these could be investigations, subpoenas, lawsuits, whatever it is. There's a lot coming for him. Boom, boom, boom. He's going to be like, no, because there's so much. But he did it to himself. He did it to himself, just like everybody does. Okay. So that was Rudy. I did have a couple more people I wanted to read on, but I don't want this video to get too long. So I will hit Bill Barr and Matt Gaetz next time. You guys come back and visit me again to hear about those two. But until then, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.